Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Flick and I am the middle school technology teacher at the American Community School of Abu Dhabi. And I want to take a few minutes just to showcase how tech class changed from where we were in our tech studios to now in remote learning. Okay, first off, we did have a bit of an advantage. Most of our lessons for the tech class were self-directed, self-paced already. So students could just log on to our website, pick a project that they want to do, and then follow along with some tutorial videos. And then using the studio space that we had designed, they could do these amazing tech projects. So now that they were taken out of the studios, how did that change? Okay, so the first thing I did was I went through all the different tech projects that we call Tech 2s or technology tattoos, which are simply just stickers that stick to their laptops to kind of show it's kind of a physical representation of the tech skills that they've proven that they have. Okay, so the first thing I had to do is I had to go through all the Tech 2s and decide which ones could be adjusted for remote learning. And some of them were easy, others just couldn't adapt. Something like robotics, we just don't have enough kits to send home with everyone, as well as the robotic tables and all those things. It just wasn't possible. But other things like podcasting, although we have a beautiful podcasting studio at the school, how could that be done at home? So we looked at different ways of how to make minor adjustments so that these tech projects could be done at home. Now, one thing that didn't change is I didn't lower my expectation. I still wanted high quality projects being turned in, and I explained that to the students. So I went through, and for every Tech 2 that could be done at home, I made a video that showed what modifications were needed, and I added that to all the training pages. So the students could simply just scroll down to the bottom of the training, and then they would have me explaining what they needed to do so that they could do this at home. So that was kind of step number one. So when we were preparing to do the launch to remote learning, the day before, I actually made 32 videos just like this, talking to the camera, explaining how things can be done. All right, let's get right into these projects. One of our first challenges was our weekly YouTube show that we called the Middle School Pulse. So we had this beautiful studio at the school that we used to shoot it in, but we modified it so it could be done from home. So we still had our host, they just shot it from their kitchen table like what I'm doing here. And we did segments from interviews with teachers that they would sometimes just do asynchronously, that they would submit questions and the teacher would submit answers, or interviews with students where they would set up their own Zoom call and then interview a fellow student. We even took on hard news like the pandemic, so we covered all those stuff. All of our regular segments that we were used to doing, we modified to be done from remote learning. Even tech tips. So how to use technology. We even had a lot of tech tips about how to use technology remotely, things that students were finding out. So we're really proud to say that we were able to produce 5 episodes. We finished out our season, 5 episodes that had over 72 minutes of programming that we were able to produce through remote learning. Okay, we're going to start off easy and then just get more complicated after this. All right, coding. Really easy to convert over to remote learning because it didn't really require any of the facilities at our studio. So a student just sits down, watches the tutorials, follows along as they create their own projects with coding. And in this case, we're making video games. Each one of the projects that we do are in levels. So level 1, level 2, and level 3. And as you go up the levels, they get more and more complicated. But while I'm talking about this one, I wanted to kind of explain how a student shows their learning in this. What's their proof? What's their body of evidence that they have actually acquired this skill? So in our studios, students would not only show me the project, like a robot that can win a fight or can pick up a piece and move it or something. That's really easy to show your teacher when we are together in a classroom. But this is a little more complicated. So in our room, we always had this little booth where students would go and talk to the camera like I'm talking to you, and they would answer reflective questions on how they're learning. And so we had that booth. So again, that converted over to home really easy because they just simply talked to the camera. And my students were used to that, reflecting on their learning. So with coding, let's take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so let's listen to this student here reflect for just a few seconds on their learning.
So what this work tells about myself and how I learn is one thing for how, like, for my second coding one, I felt like I I was more experienced, like, I felt more experienced with it because I had already done one, and I kind of knew how to do it. So like I took another step and I created my own, and some of the codes I did for that, like I didn't really look from the steps they gave me. It just I had already like because I had already done it before, I was like, okay, so this is all I have to do. I don't need to look at the steps, so I would just easily do it. So
Okay, so you can see now as a teacher, I can now assess their learning in this situation. Okay, so with coding, it was a little bit unique to because I can't be there to see it myself. They would just take a screen recording and a walkthrough of what they were doing in this video game. For this case, for level 1, they would then record themselves explaining their programming and how the game works. Let's take another listen to see how this looks.
Hi, my name is Marcus, and this is my Coding Level 1 Tech 2. So basically, I did the ghost hunting Scratch project, and I made 3 sprites for my game. And so the coding is when the sprite is clicked, it repeatedly and forever hides, waits 1 second, goes to a random position, and then shows for 1 second. And it does that repeatedly until the time variable runs out.
All right, is it starting to make sense? Isn't it amazing how just through technology and remote learning, I'm still able to assess how they are as a learner as well as the project that they've turned in. And now most of the reflective videos are around 3 to 4 minutes long, and then the project videos where they do a walkthrough is around 5 minutes long as they take me through each one of their coding projects. But let's move on. Okay, things are starting to get complicated. Digital music. We love our digital music space at our studios. It is fantastic. The students are always in there making songs, having a great time. But now with remote learning, okay, so modifications. Level 1 was no problem because students are just in GarageBand making original songs using loops and beats and samples, those type of things. They don't require a studio space. Level 2, you start to add your own singing, your own instrument, like playing a guitar or playing the keyboard or such. And then level 3, you're starting to write your own songs. Now things are complicated. So for those adjustments, it's things like using a microphone, even if it's just the built-in microphone that's on your headphones. But we can still get good recordings, good quality recordings, because remember, I'm not dropping the standard. Now, you might be singing with a blanket over your head and connected to your laptop so that it's not bouncing off all the concrete walls and stuff and having bad echoes in a house. But still, these type of modifications can be done because this is how we get it done in remote learning. And so let's take a listen to, in fact, the background music you've heard this whole time. That is one of the original songs made by one of our students. And now let's check out some singing for just a few moments.
We gotta stick together. We got a lot of power to change. We gotta come together. We got a lot of money to raise. Make toys, make art, work hard, work smart. We gotta
That is an original song, all written about a charity called Kiva and how to raise money to help other people through micro-lending. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about, a level 3 project. That's level 3 digital music where you're providing the singing and you've made the song using loops. And it's just, these are the type of amazing projects that students are turning in that are just freaking me out because I am so proud of them during remote learning, And it's humbling every time I open it up and I start to grade projects, because these kids are really measuring up to the challenge. All right, I know what you're thinking. Every kid has a phone. Every kid already knows how to take shots because they take 1 million photos a week. Well, that's just not true. Most students don't know how to take good photos. So in level 1, they start learning the basics. Level 2, they start to really apply those and do some themed projects. And by level 3, they start to learn how to do portraits. So this next little bit, I'm going to put some music to it. I'm going to put some photos up there, and you can see some of the amazing photographs that they're shooting either within their own homes or with the permission of their parents, and going out with their parents, finding someplace safe during the lockdown that they can take really amazing photos. So enjoy the next minute or so as I show you some of these great photos these students are doing. You see, aren't those some amazing shots taken by 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students? And you are welcome. I am now helping students provide the world with better photography, because let's face it, the world already has enough bad photographers in it. And this is the thing, and let me check my stats here. Yeah, 64 students have earned their mobile photography Tech 2s, either level 1, 2, or 3. That's just amazing. Let's go on. All right, welcome to filmmaking, which of course is right up there with writing, math, science, everything. Students need to become filmmakers because we are such a video-driven, visual-driven society now. So for this one, so far 19 students have taken this on and have successfully earned their Tech 2 for this. But what they do is they take on a charity to make a mini documentary about, okay? Now, the reason why we pick charities is that the theme of our middle school technology is really showing students how they can use technology to make the world better, using it as a tool, okay? So often students see technology as an entertainment and consumption device, where we really want to show them how to use it as a tool and be creative with it, and something that we can actually do something to make this world better. So let's take a look at one of the examples that one of the students have recently turned in.
Hi, my name's Tiana, and I'd like to take a moment to explain what Kiva.org does. People around the world work hard every day for their families, for a brighter future, for a chance to make a difference. But hard work isn't always enough in a world where opportunities are limited and resources are scarce. Kiva helps people help themselves by supporting their business with small loans.
Okay, I hope by now that you're really seeing just how great these things are. She's got a narration that is slow. The audio levels are easy to understand. They're at a good level. The imagery is beautiful. It's high resolution. It's the right image for what she's talking about. These are those great skills that then every one of these skills, we want them to learn and then be able to apply it outside of the tech class. So to science class, to English class, to all the projects that they might have throughout all their different academic areas. And that's what's really important, using technology as a tool, and no doubt this student understands it for filmmaking. All right, so let's talk about art. I'm going to shift over and I'm just going to play some of this art over my shoulder here so you can see it. Now, we took a little bit of a chance here with art. Now, students are required to have a laptop computer for middle school, but they're not required to have a tablet. So we just took an assumption that most students have access to one and that they could probably do this optional Tech 2 of doing digital art. Now, level 1 starts off with just some basic art that they start to learn how to use the app and picking colors, working in layers, and using the different brushes. Then layer 2, we start to get into cartooning, where they cartoon someone in their life. So in this case, it might be one of their family members because they're doing remote learning. And then by level 3, we really start to get some amazing projects as we start to do some landscapes and some really higher end, multi-layered, very complex things. Now, this is not an art class, this is a tech class. So I am very grateful for the art teachers that have taught these students in the past, and then they've taken those skills, combined them with technology skills to do this great and amazing thing that we know has a great future for employment. I mean, digital artists are well sought after by many companies for the skills that they need to succeed. So this has been a really great one to grade, because I'm just like, I'm not an artist myself, but wow, look at these amazing projects. The ACS Middle School program with the Tech 2s is all about student choice and voice. They choose the Tech 2s that they want to work on as long as they meet the minimum requirement of the number of Tech 2s they need to earn per semester. Okay, one of the really popular ones is podcasting. And let me just take a look. Yeah, so 53 students have earned their podcasting Tech 2. And I think that they really just want to have a voice, something that can be heard, something that, and literally and figuratively, that they want to have that idea of putting ideas out there for the world to take a listen to. Okay, and podcasting, as you know, has been around for years, but recently it has seen a really uptick in the number of people that are listening to podcasts. So we have the ACS Podcasting Network. It is on Spotify, it is on Google Podcasts, and recently we've been now added to iTunes with the Apple Podcasts. So just search for ACS Podcasting Network and you can listen to it. So just to kind of show you one final project before I give my conclusion here, let's take a listen in on this podcast.
You're about to listen to another amazing podcast from the ACS Middle School Podcasting Network.
Hi, I'm Emily and welcome back to my audio show. Today I'm here with my younger sister, Ashley. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for participating.
You're welcome.
So today I'm going to ask you a few questions, and all you need to do is answer my questions.
Okay.
So let's get started. Question number 1. What's your favorite lunch?
My favorite lunch is kimbap. Kimbap is Korean traditional food.
Yeah?
It is kind of like sushi, but in the middle it has vegetables and stuff depending on which flavor.
Yeah, that's also one of my favorite food. And to be more specific, if there's sushi in Japan, there's kimbap in Korea. So question number 2, what is your favorite things to do with your friends?
My favorite things to do with my friends is called infection. Infection is kind of a tag, but it has a base, which makes it much more easier.
Infection, I never heard of that. In my childhood, I loved to play Foursquares. Do you know what Foursquares are?
Yeah, I used to play that, but I got sick of it, so I'm playing
Oh,
with that.
I never heard of infection. Sounds fun.
Now, I've just shown you little clips and bits and pieces with all the projects, all the films and all the songs and the photos. These are just little samplings, but I tell you, that one just melts your heart. Just two sisters having a conversation. If you want to listen to all of it, go ahead and check us out on any of those podcasting networks. Okay, so in conclusion, I just wanted to say that when I started remote learning, I went through a grieving period where I really miss I generally miss my students. I just miss being a teacher to students. But I also was grieving my space. Here I am at my dining room table with my kitchen behind me. I loved the studios. All that space, and it was so creative and we can do things. And I was sad. I grieved the loss of my students face-to-face, in person with them, as well as the space. And then the projects started coming in. And, well, you've seen them. I mean, they're amazing. Students have taken this, whatever we're calling all this new world we live in with this pandemic, and they've really, really stood up and said, I can do this. I can do great work. And I'm really, really humbled by the incredible tech projects that I've seen come in. And I grade 3 times a week, and every day is grading day. I'm always just like standing up in my house, just like going, look at what students are capable of doing. And that's just, I guess, what I want to end on, is that when you are project-based and the students can't just go Google something, but they have to create something, and they can turn that in electronic, digitally. Now, I'd much rather be there in person and give them feedback right over their shoulder, but this is the scenario we've been given, and it can be as amazing and awesome and just mind-blowing as everything else. So well done, students. I am honored to be your teacher, and I'm looking forward to the projects, because, hey, we're only on May 12th. I mean, we've still got a lot of semester left, and I can't wait to see what you do.